Victory!
You cheated, man.
I won again.
You can't do that.
I won again. That's not cheating when you win like 3 times in a row.
That's not something you should boast.
Well, I'm just better at Super Mario Kart than you.
Oh, fine. Well, let's get to our show.
Let's jump on the show. Welcome to this. I'm going to say this day's Dentalbyte because aren't we doing a lot of these now?
I think we're going to do 365 this year, yeah. But this is the best one.
This is the best one.
And because we have
Mr. Tom Bremner with us.
All right.
From Castle Builder Financial.
Let's bring him on. How about that?
Let's see Tom. Where did he go?
There he is.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, great to be here.
Thank you so much for... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well,
basically... Thank you so much for being on the show. The timing's always a little bit tricky here, so I'm going to talk, and then I'll leave some space. Thank you so much for being on the show. Mark's always he's got his sound effects that he's going to throw in every once in a while, so don't be thrown by those. Tom Bremner has joined us on the show today from Castle Builder Financial. Let me make sure I get this right, Tom. Certified Payment Planner?
Certified Payments Professional.
Professional.
Is the CPP.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much for being on the show. Tell us about you. Give us some background. What do you do?
Sure. Well, I've been in the credit card processing business for 11 plus years now, and after a decade working for a terrific local company, I decided to hang my shingle for the first time about a little over a year ago. And one of the first things that I did was follow the pattern that I followed throughout my career, which is to form partnerships with professional associations and the reason why I'm in the dentistry world is because of a terrific partnership with the BC Dental Association.
Okay, cool. And so you're working with most of the dentists in British Columbia and helping them find solutions for credit card payments? Is that sort of the gist of most of what you do?
Yeah, that's the idea behind it. The BCDA, well, essentially they represent every dentist in the province. So it's a really, really desirable group that a lot of businesses would love to be able to engage with. So being the group credit card processing provider for them, really it puts the BCDA in a position where they can really, really leverage their access in order to get a terrific deal for all of their members.
Okay, so they've got like a group buying sort of situation with you and Castle Builder.
Yes, that's
Very
right.
Cool.
Not just price. I mean, price is important, but it's also a matter of service. Credit card processing, there are only 6 major processors operating in Canada, 6 tier 1 processors, and you know how it is dealing with big financial institutions, big multi-billion-dollar banks. They're not always the most hands-on. They can't be.
Right.
So
unless you're paying the extra $6 for the you're a VIP, right?
Well, I think the VIP in credit card processing, it might be more like $6 million.
$6 million.
They let's face it, they are the VIP. We are just the minions under them.
Right. So your role is really you're kind of a broker in that world. Then is that correct?
That's right. So I have relationships with a few of them, and we basically try to source the right solutions for a business. So when we're dealing with dentistry practices, a lot of times we're going to see a situation where they'll be using an ERP system. And for those who don't know, ERP's enterprise resource planning software. So that includes things like accounting software or inventory management or anything like that. Sometimes we'll look at who the best fit is to integrate with that software so that we can improve efficiencies. There's different factors that go in when we make a recommendation, but typically we're going to choose a processor that makes the most sense.
Okay, cool. Now you sent me a wonderful PowerPoint, like a presentation. Did we want to quickly dive into that? We're gonna be mindful of your time today. We're gonna try to keep it to around 10 minutes or so here today. So some of the points that you sent me in your presentation, can you talk a little bit about those and just some really compelling data that you sent me?
Oh, absolutely. We find that when we go into a serious partnership with a professional association that represents a big chunk of that industry, that it's very, very valuable to look at some of the statistics, some of the competitive landscape within that industry. So if I could, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen now and just pull up this this PowerPoint presentation. If you hang on for just a moment.
There we go.
We are. So the competitive landscape within BC and Canada on a whole, we've identified three trends that are particularly important from our perspective. So the first one is the cost of a degree. Now, there are only 10 dental programs in all of Canada. And over the last decade, the price of a 4-year degree has gone up by 41.86%.
Holy smokes.
So that's the first factor. Immediately somebody enters the dentistry world, they're already starting at a pretty significant financial deficit, and that is going to obviously have an impact on the business of being a dentist.
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, you're staring down a lot of debt at that point, right? I mean, holy
heck of a lot of debt.
Especially like in Vancouver, when to be a dentist downtown Vancouver is not cheap.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. The expense can be pretty high. Now, normally, when we look at an economic situation where prices are rising, we usually, in most industries, you see a falling demand. But the opposite is actually happening in dentistry. So, for instance, the number of graduates in 2020, it leaped 19.5% over 2019.
What would you attribute? What would you attribute that to? Who is it? Is it the lovely women joining the force? Is that why we get the increase? Because, looking historically back through school and who's been going through school, I think it's like women are now outpacing the males, their male counterparts.
It's certainly a trend that I'm seeing. Do you see that as well, Tom?
Well, we're seeing a much more equalization. I don't have the specific numbers regarding that, guys, but no, it's certainly an ongoing trend. I mean, dentistry is very much, and I can give you an example of when I was making this PowerPoint presentation, trying to find pictures of female dentists in public databases or databases where they're available. And I punch in dentist and I get 1 million pictures of men.
Yeah.
I had to really search to find some female dentists to use in this presentation, some images. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's still a bit of a male domination going on, but or at least the balance is definitely shifting the other way.
Old traditional.
I think it's fantastic because someone that has a daughter, let them take over. That's great.
Yeah. Are there other factors that you see aside from the gender equation that are that contributed to seeing the jump in graduates in 2020? Or was it 2021?
I think that we don't have the 2021, or I should say Statistics Canada hasn't come out with the 2021 numbers yet. That's why we're using the 2019 to 2020 in this is what I'm quoting, the 19.5%. I think that really professional degrees in general are becoming more and more popular. Certainly as we watch the price of it going up. Right. For a legal degree, for other kinds of medical degrees, we're not seeing any shortage in the demand that the schools are receiving of people who want to move into that sector. So I wonder if perhaps it's a business decision on the parts of the universities.
One thing you'll find, Tom, is Tyler and I are great at derailing our guests from their presentation. So,
well, no, I think this is relevant.
It's really relevant. So that's why I jumped on it.
Yeah, and I think just going back to that is that, and you're right, Mark. We do tend to do that. So I apologize, Tom. But I think Canada is still. I think Canada is still underserviced in dentistry, but like in urban centers like Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, I think we're seeing overserviced in the urban centers and underserviced in the rural centers.
Well, I think because the three of us are all in BC, And what we're seeing in this province is not actually representative of the overall country. I think that we have, and it's interesting that new practice openings, we are really overrepresented here.
Really?
Really overrepresented in BC. So
Yeah.
we looked at the household to dental practice ratio. So basically for every dental practice that has at least one employee, we looked at the population, the number of households in this province based on census data. And what we found is that there's actually an 18.9% deficit for BC dental practices. So what I mean by that is for each dental practice in BC in comparison to nationally, that dentist office has to make do with 18.9% fewer households.
Yeah.
Serve.
So I've personally crunched these numbers, and that is especially apparent downtown Vancouver. Like,
Okay.
I think, and I look at it, how many, like, by population, I think downtown Vancouver, each practice, if you divide that by the amount of practices, the population, it's something like 600 or 700 patients per practice. And now per practice to survive, you want to push more at like 1,500. Am I right there?
Well, I think that the average, if I look to my raw numbers here real quick, what I'm seeing is 961.5 is the national average for the most recent census.
Point five.
Wow.
961.5. Yeah.
Why?
Be specific in Stats Canada.
A half person is coming in? What? Yeah.
Well, this is households.
I know.
That would
Half a
be-
patient.
I don't
I'm
know,
trying to be funny.
2.4. So I mean, they're going to include the dog, I think.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you know what? That's a new market. Dogs are actually going to dental practices and getting orthodontic treatment.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
It's a thing.
So to add to that point, Tom, you said that out of a record number of new practices opened in 2020 nationally, 74% of them were in British Columbia. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
What?
Absolutely insane. Like insane. And it's not something that we see year after year. This was just a huge spike in 2020 for BC.
Wow.
Like normally you see BC is one of the bigger markets. You see a good chunk of the new openings for the nation happening here, like maybe out of proportion, but never that far out of proportion.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And you wonder why, dental offices can't find staff, right? There's too many. Like in British, again, like there's a debate whether it's underserviced or overserviced, but man, oh man, 74% of the national offices openings were here.
To me too, this is like, maybe this number represents why a lot of folks are moving towards corporate dentistry too, right? Because it's saturated. They can't compete. It's just getting even tougher.
Yeah.
Well, I think that these are all basically factors. These are all really important trends that are going to drive a couple of things. Let me just say, dentists are not starving. They're not losing money. They're doing quite well. 90.6% of them were profitable. The last Stats Canada survey that was done in 2018, 90.6 were making money. So I mean, I don't want to overblow this. It's still a very, very profitable business to get involved in, even despite these trends. But where I think it kind of passes through, where the impact is strongest, is on patients. Patients are missing appointments. 22.4%, the last time a survey was sent out, this was in 2018, reported missing at least one dental appointment during the course of that year because of price, specifically because of price they cited.
Wow. And that's, we've spent a lot of time with our clients going through, what their recall system looks like, making sure they're getting those patients back in the chair every 6 months. Because it's a hot topic, making sure that the recall is being followed through on, patients are getting their, back in there every 6 months or 3 months or whatever their recall protocol is. So you're right. It's an important number to look at.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't want to give the wrong impression here. I mean, there are some real big wins that are happening. We look at statistics like juveniles Like early 70s, 74% of kids had at least one damaged tooth, one rotten tooth. Today, that number is 23.6.
Right.
Again, early 70s, not that long ago in terms of, social change, a wide scale change in people's opinions and their habits, but only 49.5% of people visited a dentist once a year back then. Now it's 74.5. So, things are moving forward, and
That's good.
Just massive gains.
So now, is this people going to the dentist on a regular schedule, like a typical hygiene appointment is once every 6 months? So now is this 74% of folks are going to the dentist for standard of care, which is twice a year?
No, this number is just the annual visit.
Okay.
So once a year, which I think all of us will agree is not sufficient. I mean, I'm a 6-month man.
Yeah.
And I did that on the recommendation of my dentist. They had me on a 3-month cycle, but said, no, we got your mouth guard, Tom. You're not grinding your teeth while you sleep anymore. We got you dialed in. You can come in every 6 months now.
Right. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, hygiene is, such an important thing. I don't think people are really educated on the fact that, regular hygiene appointments will make or break your oral health in the future.
And exams.
Oh, it's absolutely true.
And a doctor exam, and a dentist
Exams are
too.
critical.
It's good. It's good that they are in awares of what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I feel that way, and I think that the industry on a whole is doing a superb job. I think the level of education is terrific. I think the level of service is terrific. I think the prices are reasonable for most people. I mean, it's a stretch for low income earners, that's for sure, who don't necessarily have insurance.
My argument against this, the folks out there that said, "Oh, they're con artists. They're so expensive." These are medically trained professionals delivering medical procedures. Right?
Healthcare procedures.
If you went to a doctor, like a specialist, anyone, gastrointestinal, whatever, like you're doing, if you go in for a colonoscopy, how much do you pay for that? Well, nothing here in Canada, but
how much gets billed? How much does it cost indirectly?
What is the cost of that? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think you would, I got a couple stitches in Hawaii. I fell off my surfboard, and 4 stitches was $4,500.
Oh man,
to clean. So
$1,100 a stitch. They gave you a discount.
I got a discount. Yeah.
So I want to be mindful. I want to be mindful of your time, Tom. I know you have clients to see today. So jumping back in, where are we going after this? Are we talking about? Is there more on this PowerPoint?
Well, there's just one more page here, and I just want to cite again the BCDA.
Absolutely
awesome.
They're in a position, and I can't speak for any of the other affinity partners, but I can definitely speak for myself, that they are in a position of being able to grant access to a really desirable population. So all the dentists in British Columbia, and this is just one of the many things that are in their value proposition. I mean, they do a lot for their members, but the thing that's most obvious to me because of my role with them is they act as a kind of a gatekeeper. They can make sure that they're only letting in really qualified professionals as partners. And they also, man, do they ever grind prices. Man, do they ever get a good deal out of me and my partners.
Working on behalf of their members for sure. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So just a shout out to the folks over there and the great work that they're doing.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have a lot of clients who are members of the association as well. So we tip our hats to them also. Tom, this has been great. I just want a quick blurb that you take a lot of pride in helping clients to be more competitive, employ more people, and boost our terrific standard of living. Is something that you had also written. So I think you guys are doing great work over at Castle Builder Financial. Next time we'll have you on, we can always do a bit of a deeper dive on statistics and different solutions that I'm sure you're going to be offering in the future.
I get hooked on that nerd stuff. I'm sorry. I'm a data guy. For sure.
Is there anything else you want to leave us with before we? Sorry, say that again.
I was saying, thank you so much, guys. Really, really appreciate the opportunity to amplify our message to your population, to your listeners, and we're very happy to come back on again.
For awesome. Sure. So if you want to talk to Tom about your credit card payment solutions, whatever you have in your office, you can see in his little signature there, all his information is up on the screen for you. So definitely give Tom a call, drop him a line, pick his brain. He's a great guy to talk to. Has a lot of information. So thanks, Tom. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You too.
Good job, Ty. Goodbye.
Have a wonderful day, everybody. That was today's Dental Bite.